everyone. I'm Sri Charan. I think somehow it's not a theater man, so I just want to say hi like this. This is better if it was like this. Yeah. Okay. So, Vaibhav, I know you covered the journey, but in this small conversation, I've tried to pick up questions from different entrepreneurs. I try to create a generic format. As a founder, how important is to have an image on the social media? Because some of them run B2B businesses here. And as a founder, because people say in the initial days, they invest on the person.
Yeah.
So how important is to have an image on the social media, and how it, obviously your journey was through social media.
Yeah.
And what is your 2 cents on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the answer might be slightly different. So don't take my answer for granted, because I don't understand what businesses you run. I don't understand who your customers are. I don't understand what problem you're solving. I don't know what you're doing. I'm going to answer everything based on what I understand about businesses. I think my strong feeling is that as a small business, right, or as a startup that we call it so, people buy from people and not from brands. The trust factor exists from people. Elon Musk sold out the Cybertruck, right? I think a few $1 billion worth of bookings of one session. That's power of personal branding, right? I think as a founder, if we have a personal brand, that's how do I put it? A brahmastra, right? That's like a ammunition that we have in our control to talk it out, what we want to say, to take the message out to a wider audience. As a startup founder, it helps you at different places at different kinds of times, right? As an early stage founder, when you're thinking about an idea, saying, what am I going to do? Is this something that people want? How many of you have got research forms on your Facebook and WhatsApp saying, bro, idoksar fill cheva na kosam? How many of you have got that? Random applications. This is what people think user research is. Right? A lot of us actually do it. And this is what a lot of agencies also do it for us. But as a founder, when you have a basic distribution, when you have a voice, you can get the right people by just simply posting on your Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Kunal Shah is a very good example. Kunal Shah, when he sold FreeCharge, was only known to probably 10,000 founders in the ecosystem. I'm telling you this. 4 years before, how many of you knew Kunal Shah? Today, how many of you know Kunal Shah? Kunal Shah built cred on top of his social media by asking questions. If you go scroll his LinkedIn, Facebook and everything, you will see polls that date back 2.5, 3 years back, 4 years back, 5 years back, right after he sold his last business to starting cred. It was polls that got him the answers because he had basic distribution. And it didn't have 1 million followers like it does today. He had some 25, 30,000 followers, that's it. That is early stage. I think mid-stage, it helps you tremendously well with hiring people, getting the right talent, getting access to the right investors. For example, because of the little distribution that I had on my personal side, on my social media, every VC, one of the biggest reasons why we were able to close a round in 2 weeks is because I didn't have to go out and reach out to VCs anymore. All the VCs had already reached me out saying, Vaibhav, what are you building? I told them, I'm not sure what it is. When I'm sure, I'll let you guys know. That's exactly why we were able to close a round, which on an average takes 7 to 8 weeks for a decent startup, was closed in 2 weeks for us, right? Distribution is your ammunition, my friends. If you're building a startup, but you don't have distribution today, start building. When I say distribution, it's following on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, whichever social network that works for you.
Awesome. So there was another thought, like every 2 to 3 years, I think we are moving very fast these days, but there's one word which is coined. Let's say there was digital marketing, then there's one word called growth hacker, or the growth hacking. Now there's PLG, product-led growth now. So how do you see this changing and impacting the usage of social media, and what should a founder think? You should hire a growth hacker, you should hire a digital marketer, or a product-led growth guy?
Very interesting. Again, this answer is going to change for every business that there is, right? But there's a flavor of this in every business. Okay, I want to structure this by taking a couple of steps back, right? I want to talk like a marketer, not like a founder this time, right? As a marketer, we are given X number of bullets, which is usually some money to spend to get customers, right? I'm assuming all of us understand CAC, customer acquisition cost, and all of us understand lifetime value of a customer. And there is this holy mammoth of a thing which is called CAC to LTV ratio. If your CAC to LTV ratio is less than 3, you don't have a business. If your CAC to LTV ratio is more than 5, at scale, you probably have phenomenal business, right? As a marketer and a founder, this is the fight that always goes on. And it always goes back to the point कि यार हम लोग, how can we acquire a customer in the most affordable format or most affordable way? And when it comes to that, there are multiple things that you can do. If your CAC is, if your LTV is massive, then probably you can run ads. If your CAC is even bigger, I mean your LTV is even bigger, then you can have a higher CAC, you can run TV ads and all that stuff. Or you could be a business who is selling a product whose lifetime value is 100 rupees. And in 100 rupees, how are you going to acquire a customer and sustain the customer for life if your CAC is going to be through the roof? So based on the kind of business, it's going to change. But essentially, people who confuse themselves between digital marketers and growth hackers, please don't. Growth hackers are people whose job is to, the true North Star metric of a growth hacker is growth. The channel doesn't matter. Is he doing digital marketing? Is he doing, going out on road and giving out pamphlets? Is he doing something else? It doesn't matter. What a growth hacker does is a bunch of experiments. It's an experimentation framework, right? I want 100 customers and my maximum cap is 100 rupees per customer. What are the list of things that I can do to make sure this happens? So you list down all the ideas. 1, I'll go and give out pamphlets. 2, I'll WhatsApp all my friends. 3, I will run ads. I don't know what they are. All these ideas that we as founders come up with essentially are experiments. And initially, all the early stage founders are growth hackers in my way of thinking, right? Because you are the one who's leading all these experiments. You run all these experiments one after another. The experiment that works, you try to scale it. And if that experiment is scalable, that becomes a scalable growth hack. If that experiment is not, you basically die down. In that, digital marketing could be one where you run LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, and something work. That could be one of the experimentation. And growth hacker could come in and say, how can I make it more cheaper? How can I acquire via Facebook ads but for lesser price? What all can I do? Now this is digital marketing and this is growth hacking. I'm assuming a lot of people understand this. Now there is this new fancy word called as product-led growth. What is product-led growth? If you break that down in a very simple terms, right? Growth of your business is driven by your product and not marketing. That's what PLG is, right? And how are you going to get this? The oldest, this is a fancy word, okay? All of us have seen this in real lives. If you have seen Uber, where all of us have referred our codes to others, that is PLG of some sorts, because that's a product that was used and you were getting more people to use the product. As a result, you were getting access to more rights. You're getting more people to use the product on the go, and that loop continues. That is product-led growth. And not every business can leverage PLG, and especially as small startups, PLG is very hard. Because you need a set of audience. PLG is very much determined basis of your existing customers kind of working in some fashion or the other to get your next set of customers. And for your existing customers to refer other people, have to go through the aha moment. That is, the aha moment is as simple as, for the first time, when you were ordering food on the internet, you clicked on the restaurant, selected something, and in 30 minutes when the food came to your doorstep, that was aha moment, because before this, you used to call to Shaghosh, wait on line, and then if you get lucky, he will say, yes, I will deliver, and if you get lucky, you'll get your food in 1 hour. Now predictability has happened, because of which you love the product and you start talking about it. Before that aha moment happens across at scale, PLG doesn't kick in as such. So thinking about PLG from day zero on how can more people can refer into our product later is very important. But initially, if you're a very early stage startup, I would say don't invest your think about it, but don't invest full of your time. At least I didn't do this. Invest full of your time saying that boss, अभी product led growth कैसे करें? पहले देखो भाई लोग पैसे देने के लिए ready है कि नहीं, right? That channels could be marketing, growth hacking, digital marketing, whatever that could be.
Awesome. So generally, these days ads are becoming too costlier.
Yeah.
Right. It's no rocket science that most of the founders know, and they have a Now, you being a founder, now you have issue with your team. And founder being a marketeer is a different.
Yeah.
Founder being a tech guy is a different.
Yeah.
Or ops guy is completely on the tangent.
Yeah.
So, how do you see, like, can you share any case studies or your own experiences of organically marketing your startup? I know different startups have different ways, but let's say if it's a B2C startup, if it's a B2B startup, what is that one organic or any jugadu experiment for you which worked for you?
Yeah.
Or you might know some stories in and around.
Yeah. So I think before I answer this question, let me tell you one thing. Sadly, unless you have true PMF, okay, I have my own definition of PMF, and my definition of product market fit is not just basic retention, is not just all those metrics that you come up with. My true value of true PMF is, if your product goes down today, will half of your customer line up outside of your office saying that, please get me your product back, I need it. That is true PMF for me. If today Uber goes out, we will be stranded saying, what the hell are we going to do right now? If Swiggy goes out, that is going to happen. That's true PMF for me, right? Unless you are not in a true PMF stage, organic marketing, anything that you do organic is not infinitely scalable. So you have to make inorganic things, you have to figure out how to make them work. Like, I want to put this out very strongly. A few people will say, few people will disagree, but a lot of people will come to this point, so try to figure that bit out. But when it comes to organic, irrespective of the kind of business you are, I feel one growth hack that fits into every business out there is something called as OPN. It's a framework. It's called Other People Network, right? And I'll give you an example for that, right? For Growthschool, we got 250 people in the first cohort of our first program ever, which was a LinkedIn workshop, right? And I ran ads, by the way, for that. I didn't leverage my own social media because I wanted to validate if this business can run without my social media presence. Or else I'm not scalable. I cannot have 200 people like me with 100,000 followers each. I'm not scalable, right? So that's how I started it. But after 250 people came in, the next cohort we had 40% people coming from organic marketing. And the way we did it is we leveraged their audience. So in your business, what we try to do is, for example, we use tactics like, hey, if you have taken the workshop, if you've done the task that we have asked you to, please post it on your LinkedIn. That's where I will review it. I could have asked them to email me, but I said post it on your LinkedIn, right? We posted a post and I asked everybody to comment on that post, talking about how they felt about, when we collect reviews, right? We usually send out a type form. I said, post it on my LinkedIn post. I want to see my reviews there. When 100 people posted on that LinkedIn post, it went to their network. This is what OPN is. Think about, see, organic, frankly, is dying down. If you want to leverage social media, you know it's on a downward curve. It's always the case. How can you get your customers to work for you is what you have to think. In my business, we applied in a way that we got other people to talk about anything that they want to using their social media. And that worked very well. And even today, about 20 to 25% of our sales for workshops comes organically through this. This is engineered organic marketing, right? There is a non-engineered, pure play organic marketing. And pure play organic marketing doesn't happen, according to me, unless you have true PMF. We don't have true PMF yet. True PMF is where you rave about it. True, again, I'll go back to the example of Uber because I've worked 5 years and that's an example that stays top of my mind. But true PMF happens when you say, hey, did you come in an Uber? Or if you're getting late, why don't you take an Uber? That is true PMF. Once that happens, right, this is pure play organic marketing. And that will take a PMF to exist. Till then, try to engineer this. Think about your business, think about your customers, think how you can leverage their audience. I think that's the easiest way to get results as fast as possible. Of course, there's SEO and all that you can Google and get, but this is my way.
So, and you're always known for the LinkedIn, and LinkedIn has become almost like a surname for you. You know, it's like, that's how you started out and the whole journey. So today you see lots of, everyone keeps you asking, like, give me that one tip on LinkedIn that I become something. that's what happens in your 5-day workshop too. You know, people keep asking, they want that instant gratification. Does it really work, or is it something which is a long run? You know, what is LinkedIn growth hack for a company? Because still I feel companies' pages are big duds on LinkedIn. They're not that active. So what do you suggest to the founders in the audience? It's about LinkedIn as a founder or LinkedIn as a company?
See, to answer your first question, is there an ultimate growth hack? For that, my answer is, if it was so easy, everybody would have done it. Frankly. The biggest growth hack, according to me, is consistency. And you engineer that consistency using a lot of tech, tools, data that we have. Today there's enough tools to tell us what kind of content works. Today there is enough tools that can tell us, out of 5 posts that you posted, which is the kind of content that your audience likes. You can measure every freaking thing out there. You have to be smart about it, right? And figure out what works and consistently do it. You will get results slowly. Right? That is the actual answer, and that's why I think this is directly correlational to your personal brand in a way. Right? With that being said, coming to the second question of company pages versus personal pages, in a way both are important. Personal page is because you're a founder, your personal branding is what matters. People don't care about your brand name, people care about you. As an early stage founder, what do investors look at? Your idea is 20%, who you are and how you execute is 80%. I'm sure all of us know this by now, right? That is where personal branding kind of flourishes, and use your own profile. If you have your resources out of 100, put 95 resources on your personal brand, on your founder's brand, because that is what will sell your business to start with. Slightly going towards later end, when you want to scale your team from 10 to 50 to 100 to 200 to 500 to 1000, that is where your company page kind of kicks in, because the brand goes beyond a few. And at that case, your company page on LinkedIn kind of acts like a banner ad for people on how cool your brand is. A lot of people also make this mistake, and I keep saying this over and over again. Please don't use your social handles as a promotional channel. I don't know how well to word this. I kept saying this before, that listen guys, entrepreneurship is not sexy, it's hard. It is a very lonely journey, and it's gonna test you every day. I kept saying this, I knew this when I was getting into this. But I didn't know what it actually meant when I said it is a really hard journey, it is a really lonely journey, because it is terribly difficult. I basically work 7 days a week almost, like every other founder here, 18 to 20 hours. I've not fallen sick as many times I have fallen in my life compared to the last 7 months. I'm being frank, this is real shit. Pardon my French, but this is, right? And every founder who has spent a couple of years knows what I'm talking about, right? So if we are, and that's the change, right? Like, I discounted how difficult the journey is going to be. I just discounted it, but guess what? I enjoy doing this. So I'm okay with it. And this is exactly why I made one more point saying that if you can't do this for the next 20 years, just don't do it right now. Because if you're not truly passionate about what you're doing, if you're doing D2C because you think D2C is cool right now and a lot of companies are building up, hence you want to do D2C, you'll probably run out of business in 2 years. Because persistence nahi aayega, unless you truly feel about it. Right? So, yeah.
Superb. And the last one, I think some of the questions might come on this too, is like on the verge of funding winter and edtech going haywire. I know, fine, I played a small role in the whole part, but the point, the raising of funding for you, and the trend, I feel you started a trend where have a bunch of individuals coming on as a cohort. It was like a kind of a, even you had Sequoia, even you had Ant and Owl, and you had decent guys with big checks. I know there were some offers which you said no to, big time. So what made you take like almost on board exactly 80 angels on board. And what is the suggestion that you give to people? If there is a funding winter across, go to 80 entrepreneurs. How did you raise that? That's a mammoth exercise that you did, right? Yeah. So can you share that experience of the whole fundraise wala factor?
Yeah, we raised from Sequoia, Owl, and 80 different angels, right? And this was not heard of back in the day, and every time I said this, people were like, what, 80 angels, are you mad? How did you do it? Here's the thing. We raised, see, the cases could be different for everybody, right? We raised from 80 angels not because we wanted more money. I could have got the same money or even more money from the existing funds. They were more than willing to put in. The reason why I raised money from 80 angels because I needed as many shoulders as I can to put my head and cry on. Let me explain you what I mean by this. By the way, one of the shoulders sitting right next to me, Charan is also an angel at Growthschool, right? But I got 80 Charans because I knew, like I told you, I realized that it's a very hard journey. And I only know very few things. I don't know most of the other things that is needed to build a successful business, right? But I knew there were a bunch of people who probably must have solved problems that I will face tomorrow. Who will I go to for this? So I strategically picked people. I strategically picked a few founders that to a different scale. I picked a few big founders like Kunal, Nikhil Kamath and all. And I also picked few early stage founders who are just a step ahead of me. For example, like Charan, who is 3-4 years ahead of me. He must have gone to the rut. These are founders. I also raised from potential customers. For me, Growthschool is a marketplace. Like I said, people from Amazon, Google, Facebook, Apple, WhatsApp come and teach at Growthschool. I raised money, around 20 people, from those people who I would want to come on my platform and teach, who otherwise would be very difficult to crack. For example, if I want head of brand marketing, or let's say CEO of T-Hub to come and teach entrepreneurship at Growthschool, he probably won't do it directly if I say, because he's already very busy. But if I'm able to get him to invest his own 20 lakhs into my business and then say, hey, can you please do this course? There's a higher chance of him doing this course with me, right? So that was on one other side. So that was with a few mentors that we did. And few hardcore operators. For example, I didn't understand how brand marketing worked. I was a non-techie solo founder. I didn't understand how tech worked. So I raised from a bunch of CTOs. I raised from a bunch of brand guys who I can pick my phone, give a call and say, boss, I don't know how to do this. Will you help me? For example, yesterday, I called the CEO of Schneider Electric, the lifts making company, right? He also invested in my company, Anand. And I called him up and said, Anand, I don't know how to set up OKRs because I've never built a 100 people team. He got on a call with me for 2.5 hours explaining me how I can implement OKR system into my startup, which otherwise I would have been lost onto Google, YouTube videos, not getting the right information. So that is why I raised money. So when I raise money from someone, I'm basically getting the access to that person to pick up the phone and call. I don't want their money. I'm not doing it just for their money. I'm doing it for access to that person, right? And in a funding winter, if you ask me, funding winter, non-funding winter, at any place, right? Angels are great if you're able to strategically raise money from. And a funding winter, if you're finding it hard to raise money from VCs, you'll find it hard to raise money from angels also, because guess what? I'll tell you very frankly, I would not have managed to close 80 out of 80 angels, maybe 30 I might have closed if I had no Sequoia or Owl. Validation of a business comes from a VC, from a big VC, or from your idea, from your past experience. Let's say your ex-boss might invest because they truly believe in you, but someone who doesn't know you, for example, Charan might have invested. He would have invested, I'm assuming, if there was no Sequoia and Owl, because he knows me. We have a working relationship with each other. But I'm not sure if Nikhil Kamath would have invested. You know what I mean? If there was no VC in picture. So according to me, true validation actually happens if a VC is investing money into your business. It could be a small micro VC also. Right. And funding winter, नॉन फंडिंग वेंटर, बॉस अगर आइडिया अच्छा नहीं है, अगर बंदा जो मचाएगा वो मशीन को वो अच्छा नहीं है, कोई भी वेंटर हो आप पैसे नहीं उठा सकते हो. अगर आइडिया अच्छा है, आपका एग्जीक्यूशन स्ट्रांग है, then even during a funding winter, it might take slightly longer. You might get lesser valuation, but you'll still be able to raise money. Is my true thought process, because I know my friends who are raising money right now at very good valuations.